What you saw in that courtroom today was illuminating. Miss Armstrong wants her day in court. She wants a trial. But we have some questions. Why did the Austin Police Department seemingly ignore a tip about the former boyfriend of Miss Wilson?
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. The Austin American Statesman has provided some additional footage of Kaitlin Armstrong's defense attorney, Rick Kofer, making a brief statement after yesterday's court proceedings. As per usual, I'll put a link to the source in the description. Now, when Kofer first said, why did the Austin Police Department seemingly ignore a tip about the former boyfriend of Miss Wilson, I thought he was referring to Colin, but he may have been referring to a former boyfriend of Miss Wilson who is someone else we don't know about yet and who hasn't been identified thus far. What Kofer is doing, do you notice, is throwing cats among the pigeons, and suddenly what seemed so obvious is cast under several different spotlights. When you shine many lights at something, do you see more clearly, or are there distortions and tricks of the light? Do the shadows start to dance? Is there gaslighting? Before we get to the rest of this episode, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Like, share, leave a comment. Obviously, if you're enjoying the content and you want to show your thanks, you're welcome to hit the thanks button. And let's get started. So thus far, we've heard of an alleged burglary or break-in at the Strickland Armstrong residence on the night of the incident. That's also from Kofer. This is a weird coincidence if you think the incident that cost Wilson her life was made to look like a break-in for a bicycle. Then there is also the intrigue around law enforcement and even the district attorney mentioned in Kofer's comments. Now, if you think about this case as a tiny unit of what is going on in America right now, a tiny unit that expanded, shows a glimpse, provides some insight into what is happening on a much larger scale in America, in the country. Consider how we are presented with a certain set of fairly obvious circumstances in this particular case. So we are studying the case for how long? About 2 months, and then suddenly we're presented with a totally different setup. What then happens is we're told boldly and brazenly that the fugitive that's disappeared to a foreign country, that's been on the run effectively for 43 days, and please don't tell me she didn't know she was on the run, but she used someone else's passport, she used multiple aliases, she changed her identity, she changed her appearance, she had plastic surgery, she actually wants her day in court. That's what that was all about. And she wanted to be in court all along. Oh. And who are the real villains of the story? Well, the real truth is that the media is either inaccurate or have been misled. The police are not to be trusted, and there are questions surrounding the investigators of this case. It's really a case that Kaitlin is innocent, but everyone else is guilty of something. And isn't that true in a general sense? The media lies, police are con men, and prosecutors are unjust. Isn't that the society that we live in? We are innocent, or a particular person is innocent, and everyone else is guilty, and the whole system is corrupt, right? Now, one of these realities is reality. Either that there's institutional corruption, or Kaitlin did do something terrible, right? Which reality is it? Now, I think the reality isn't binary here. I don't think it's either the one or the other. I think there is a certain amount of corruption. There is some truth in that. And isn't the best way to tell a lie to use a little bit of truth in order to do that, right? But think about what we're talking about. I don't think it's as personal or contrived as it's being made out to be. The truth may be that there aren't two opposing realities, but two realities that actually fit together in some way. So the real question is a question of extremes. How much is something a certain way and how much is it not? And that is where there is definitely uncertainty, right? How much corruption is there in a certain scenario? There definitely is corruption. How much? That is hard to say, right? But that doesn't then mean the other question becomes negated, right? You don't focus on the other question and then forget about the reason why you're here. The reason why we're here is Kaitlin has been accused of a crime, in fact, several crimes. So the truth may be that there aren't two opposing realities, but two realities that actually fit together in some way. And that's really the question. How do they fit together? Obviously, if you only live in one reality, or you are constantly, one reality is constantly resonating with you, well, then that reality can be recruited as a way to explain this case. And you're going to be quick to jump into that vehicle and say everything is explicable according to this reality that I really feel strongly about. And that reality is going to resonate with you. But that's not reality. That's fishing for a reality to suit your purpose, isn't it? So I think it's quite interesting when Kofa leaves the room and journalists who have been addressed but otherwise undermined, journalists who have been acknowledged but otherwise ignored, when they make the obvious statement, why did Kaitlin flee the country? Kofa provides no answer. And there's reality in that as well. Some realities cannot be interrogated. Some realities cannot be questioned. Convenient realities selectively pick and choose their truths, and they are actually quite fragile. They're like a house of cards, easy to demolish with the right question, with the right insight. All it takes is a little critical thinking, and it has to be said, quite a lot of knowledge of a particular case in order to do that. But not everyone has time for that, unfortunately. Today, some people, many in fact, can simply be told what to think, and if it resonates with them, they will accept it. The best lies, as I say, contain a grain or two of truth, and from there the rest is gut feeling, emotions, bias. Most of us don't have the time to commit to a full-blown investigation of the deeper circumstances, and that's why True Crime Rocket Science is here and is necessary. And yes, Christine, Kaitlin's sister, did appear in court yesterday as well.
In that courtroom today was illuminating. Miss Armstrong wants her day in court. She wants a trial.
Why did she flee the country? Why did she flee the country? Why did she go to Costa Rica? Why did you press for a trial, speedy trial? I mean, that's pretty basic.